Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show today. I am excited. I'm actually kind of running a buzz after having such a great book premiere today. We had almost 250 people signed up for the book premiere today, and it was for our second book in the Art of Connection Legacy series. The first book was called The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Networking Quotes. And our second book coming out is The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes by Entrepreneurs, Business Owners, and Influencers. And I'm just really excited that you guys are here joining us today. Laura Cobb, thank you so much for being with us. Oh my God, was it wonderful today? I wish I could just hug each and every person that came into the room. We had a special offer today of some upcoming and amazing things. But I want to remind everyone, I just want to do a little housekeeping. Wait a minute, no, it's housekeeping here. Please, we have a membership site of our organization where you can go to our academy classes, our events, our networking meetings. We put on 1,000 of them every year. And I'm just inviting you guys to come be my guests so you can kind of hang out with us and we can have some fun, do some connecting, some learning, some earning, and some learn how to earning. I also want to have everyone save the date. Our Art of Connection Summit is coming up on March 31st, 2022. That's only a couple of months away. You can get more information by going to artofconnectionsummit.com. That's artofconnectionsummit.com. It's Thursday, March 31st. You will be wonderfully amazed by what we're going to have on at that event. We have 4 outstanding panels. We have some speed networking. We have some blitz training. We have some giveaways. And at the end of the day, just connections of heart. Heart like, oh my goodness, I'm actually a little bit tired after this event, so I'm kind of stumbling over my words, but heart, well, we're all heart-like minded, entrepreneurs. So please, forgive me today. It just was a great event today, and I was just so special to be a part of it. And today on our show, I have Natalie Mcqueen. She's one of the many amazing people that helped us put on this particular book. And Natalie, I am so thankful that you're here today. Kenyatta, I just want to say a shout out to you. Wonderful, amazing. Thank you for your just wonderful support of the Art of Connection movement. And it was wonderful to have you speak and Jeffrey Morris speak at this event as well. And Dr. Laura, you had me at doctor, so you give the right prescription for everyone. But Natalie, I'm really excited about you being here today. How are your feelings on the event we just had?
It was amazing. I'm on the same high as you are. I feel like I'm on a treadmill and I'm opening up my email and I'm getting amazing feedback from the authors that were just blown away. And when we broke out into the little groups and asking how many first-time bestsellers and seeing those hands go up with the smiles, it was incredible.
It's really funny. And, a little background for people who, weren't at the event or don't know. I mean, the Art of Connection series was really only started out to be just one book. And then all of a sudden, with a little bit of encouragement of the Chicken Soup for the Soul creators, and then all of a sudden a little of encouragement from Orly Moore, it was like, yeah, let's do this. And quite frankly, I didn't think that there would be a second book coming out, because the first book, I felt like it nearly killed me. So, so to come out with a second book, it was, I said the first book was a project of passion, but I have to say, let's 10 times that. And the second book was even more passion, because once we started moving forward, the outpouring of support, to do this, just became really evident. And I think it did for you as well, didn't it?
Absolutely. And we worked very closely together. As your wife said today, it's a good thing she's not a jealous person, because there were many days and evenings that we just worked tirelessly helping the authors either create their quotes and their thoughts and put them together into a beautiful manuscript and just make all the deadlines.
Well, and so much goes into creating a book like this. I mean, we had to create the back end software. We had to be able
Yes.
to make sure that we were coordinate the payments to the right people. We had to create forms that would be able to like store, all the information that we received. We had to go through and make sure every field was filled out. We had a team of VAs that handled calls and sent out
Yeah.
emails and responded to questions. I mean,
Yeah.
they say authors are like cats, and I said, well, we had a whole herd of them for this book, so we were herding cats all the time, were we not, Natalie?
Absolutely. That was exactly, that's a good way of putting it.
And I get it. Hey, Daniel, welcome. Thank you. A veteran himself. He's serving right now. Vetpreneur.
Wow.
I'm so excited that he's here today supporting Kenyatta Turner again, Dr. Laura Cobb. I mean, it really is an expression and outpouring, to have so many people, come to an event like this, a book premiere, so many people support the art of connection and actually
Yeah.
understand what it means. I've been able to have a lot of conversation over what is the course of 2 years, and people, they want to know, what do you mean by connection? And what I mean by connection is the most powerful thing that we have as human beings is to be able to connect with each other and then start that
So true.
first conversation, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. My writing started in a compilation, a book about 4.5, maybe 5 years ago. I was so nervous. I was unsure of my writing skills, and I was encouraged by it was a much smaller group. But when that book comes out and you hold it in your hands and you see your name as part of these amazing people, there's no other feeling. And what's special about this group is most of the people are not authors. I mean, they're authors because they write, but they haven't done it before. And so for them, taking their business, their entrepreneurial skills and mindset and what they've learned and craft it into something that could inspire and help others, it's awesome. I love it.
Well, and what's really interesting is it's the behind the things and it's behind the conversation things that happen, or should I say the conversations behind the scenes.
Yes.
And we were talking about in an earlier chapter meeting about entrepreneurship 60 years ago. Everything was tangible. There wasn't all the digital that goes with it. And having a book, it's a lot different than saying, hey, you had a
Right.
social media post. You got to print that out and show people. But having a book and being a part of a book, you
Yep.
can feel it, touch it, taste it if you want. Write all over it, use it. And there's always something special to be said about seeing yourself being presented in such a tangible way. And I don't think it really occurs to people, and Natalie, you're so spot on, I don't think it really occurs to people until they actually open that book and they see their name and they read their words and they know that they've just put themselves out there, for the first time many times in a real tangible way. And we had a discussion in an earlier chapter about that. And I think that that's what you experienced as well, just
Yes.
being able to see that name out there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's touching for me is, I still would never claim to be some amazing writer, but what the little words that I have shared over the years, I've got feedback that you inspired me. I love your mindset and different things. So to share that and to bring other people, I mean, we are surrounded, your community is such a beautiful community. And those people have so much to share and so much wisdom that they can share with other entrepreneurs and help them to move forward as a community. And
Yeah.
that's where I think this book is not only inspiring quotes, but a way for the business world to put themselves out there and say, hey, this is who I am, this is my heart, but here's my information. And if my business interests you, let's talk.
And that's what it's about. When it's coming to about this inspiration, it's not just, I like to say it starts with your heart set. You have to have your heart set before you can move on to the mindset.
Right.
And your mind will just follow what your heart sets out to be, to
Yep.
have. That is your energy. Your energy starts with your heart, then it goes into your mind, the capacity to dream and build great things. Then it goes on to the skill sets that we all develop over time. And I think that that's what this book was about. It was about inspiring entrepreneurs to be their best selves in the aspirations that they have for themselves and what
Right.
they want to give in their gifts to other. Wouldn't you think?
Yes, absolutely.
And another thing I did, and I talked about this at the event, and hopefully everyone heard this, but I went through the book and I started picking up on words that people wrote, in the different pages, and I found the word serve.
Okay.
I also found overcome,
Yep.
change, which I will also say is pivot, being better, providing hope, you know, and creating connections. But another word that also came out of this book was also transform. And I think a lot of what I've been
Mhm.
finding is people have been in this crazy kind of merry-go-round, this treadmill for the last couple of years, and I
Yep.
believe kind of a next evolution from inspiration is transformation, isn't it?
Absolutely. That is spot on, because how many businesses have had to look at what they were doing, especially people in live events and, traveling all over the world, speaking on stages and stuff, and then all of a sudden have to pivot into this virtual world. And some of them have just excelled at it, and some have struggled. And that's where having a community to support each other and to help you go forward through the tough times is so important.
Well, Natalie, I want to go back just a little bit, so we can talk about how we came together. And because I remember you. I mean, we've known each other for probably
Years.
yeah, I mean, certainly about 4 years at this point. And I
Yep.
remember telling you, and you probably looked at me like, "Who is this guy?" And I said, Natalie, you are just amazing. I'm going to tell you this right now, but you're never going to get rid of me. We're going to be friends for life. And do you
I
remember
remember that.
that? Do you?
I'm like, who is this?
Yeah, who is this random guy coming up with me? And I had no idea. You didn't know who I was. Is this guy flirting with me, or
I
is he,
know.
what does he want, or and I don't know how I come across. I'm just Robert,
Right.
many times, and
You
I
made me
remember
feel
saying
so
that, and I remember,
welcome.
yeah, I remember telling my wife, and she's like, "You did what? You said what?" And I said, "I don't know. She just seems like she loves what she does."
Yep.
And I just wanted to know her because I felt like, you know, words are starting to get very, very diluted, and they don't have as much meaning because in social media, we just throw stuff out there so easily now.
Yes, I
Are
agree.
those words meaningful? And when I heard you talk about words and meaning, you had me right then. And and I wanted you to kind of talk to those listeners that are here with us. Why do words matter so much for you?
Yeah. So this was huge for me. I definitely was not in the publishing world forever. So when I came in, what I did in the corporate world, everything had to be perfect and everything had to match, and like how you put yourself out there had to be perfection. And when I came into the world of publishing, I was helping the authors put their sometimes stories out that weren't so perfect. And it was fine for me to help them do that. But I'm not going to tell anyone that anything was ever wrong, or show my authenticity, or um, just negative things that may have happened, or experiences that went wrong, and then you had to pivot and go the right way. And what I found is in this community, and when you open up or you write something that is a little vulnerable, you connect with people so much more. People are like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that about you. And that happened to me. And that's when, over the years of having little things and giving little pieces, it's really inspired me to do my own book. So my own book will be coming out in February, and I'm super excited. I'm a little nervous, but it's awesome.
And that's what the beauty of about it is we talked in the at the event, when I was training as an athlete, and my coach came up to me and he says, every marathon runner starts out at one point in their life learning how to put their socks and their shoes on,
Yeah.
and then learning how to tie them right. And you know that's what a page in the book has done, and so many people have come back to me, and I understand it. So many entrepreneurs, they look at it like, well, why should I write a book, and really does it matter, and who's going to see it, and is it going to
Right.
provide a return on investment for me, and what is my payback, and there's this kind of pushing out and pushing out and pushing out, and when you really get right down to it, what happens is once you open that door and you step through, there's not the pushback. No one's come to me, Natalie, from the first book, and hopefully it'll be the same way the second book, saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm a published best-selling author. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm in the Library of Congress. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I have a book that I can pick up and show people. No one said that was the worst decision I've ever made, was to be in a book.
Yeah.
They come back to me and they say, you know what? This has given me the courage to say that I can do this. I've been wanting to be a published author for all my life, and now I am. You know what? I'm not only am I a published author, I'm going to be in another collaborative book. I'm going to write my own book. I'm going to do things that I've never done, and it's just like putting on the shoes for the first time. It's being able to be in a place where I can say yes, not someday anymore. And I think that's important. I want to say it again. I can say yes. I don't have to say someday anymore. And I think that that's what we've seen with this little book, The Art of Connection, which actually is a big book at the end of the day, where people get some of that courage, don't you think?
Yeah. And you're exactly right. It gives them, it's easy enough because it's one page. It's a quote, and then the author's heart and mindset about their quote, and then a thought-provoking question that really gets the reader to think about what they've talked about. So it's that toe in, and then once you get those socks and shoes on, you can't stop. And can you share about talking with Mark Victor Hansen of why people shouldn't just do one?
Well, what it was is, came into our lives, and through a wonderful person named Brian Wright, and he was featured in our magazine. And one of the things he said is that to be really credible, you have to keep putting yourself out there. And
Yes.
you understand networking, and if a person networks once and they don't show up to network for another 2 years, and say that they're networking, well, they're not going to get very much business. And it was, authors are the same way. They come out and they take 2 years to write a book. The book finally comes out, and then 2 years later, they may show up and try to have another book where,
Right.
for the most part, especially if you're an entrepreneur
Yeah.
author, not an author, but an entrepreneur author, what happens is that second book never gets done,
Yeah.
because, they're not continually providing the value of influencing as an expert in their space continuously. And so it's not just about writing a book. It's about writing forwards. It's about writing reviews. It's about having expert excerpts in books. It's about being a part of a collaboration in addition to writing your own book. I mean, it's so much more. But once you do it, all of a sudden, you're like the Mark Victor Hansons and the Jack Canfields of the world, because all of a sudden you start showing up in all these different places. And you know what magic happens, Natalie? People start coming for you to be a part of other great things because they see you in your own greatness. And
Yes.
and like I said, I haven't seen too many people print out social media posts from 3 or 4 or 10 years ago and say, here's my social media post. Heck, I don't even give them from yesterday. But you know what? You know what? But people do come and they show books, and it was remarkable what I would see at events where people who have produced books before, and all of a sudden they're still autographing books from 10 years ago,
Yeah.
20 years ago, and even yesterday. And that's what's so powerful about this medium. We're going to take a break, Natalie. Let's
Okay.
talk a little bit more about the benefits of being a published author. And I'm going to do that after I play this little short commercial break.
Okay.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
All right, a little bit of the Network Together interlude, and that was the original name of the company. Now it's Entrepreneur Network, and I used to always joke. People ask me, well, why do you call it Network Together? And I'd always say, because it sounds so much better than Network Apart. So
Right. Yeah.
so I'm going to bring up a little screen here, and what we have here is 6 ways to establish credibility as an author. And this is a graphic that you and I were setting out to utilize, because we felt like a lot of people who haven't walked through that doorway, so to speak, they didn't know really what it means to actually say, I am an author. So let's talk about the first instance, expert status. Lend us a little bit of information on why that's so important, Natalie.
Yeah. Well, so there are over 4,000 books just on Amazon being published every day. And I think we have some statistics that over 80% of people say, I want to write a book someday, and only about 2% ever do. So authors are held at a different level, where even if you're an author that just has a page in a book, you've done it and you're together with that group and it's a published book. So the expert status and the credibility of I have been published, it just shows up kind of as a notch in your belt or a diploma on your wall.
And I think that also goes when it comes to expert status. Most books that are written, there's 2 places that you can look at it, and I brought it up. There's entrepreneurs who happen to be authors, and then there's authors, and very few of them who also turn into entrepreneurs. That is very, very rare. And then in between, you have authors who make a living off of being an author. And what books do is they create a tally mark or a marker that follows you wherever you go, and it's something that no one can take from you, isn't it, Natalie?
Yes, absolutely. One thing, I'm going to back up just a little. When we were doing the networking time today, there was a gentleman and he was saying, what a joy to be with these other people, or other entrepreneurs, because as an entrepreneur, sometimes, especially during COVID, you're kind of locked in your little area and you don't get out and socialize as much. And he said, what this does is being a part of something bigger than your daily grind, even though he loves what he does, just gives you that support system that you can reach out to someone and know that they're going through the same thing with their business as you. And I think that's so important and such a valuable insight of being a part of a book like this.
It really is. And when you're in a book that's of such large scale, there's almost an industry that's created with it as well. and there is a certain, like, I served in the military and the Marines for 6 years. And,
Right.
it was never about the individual, at least for me in my training in the Marines. It was about the team. You don't
Right.
succeed and fail as an individual, you succeed and fail as a team.
Yep.
And when I was in athletics, I ran the 100, the 200, the 400, the long jump. Those were my track specialties. But the thing there was, in sports, it was all about winning. But when I went into the Marines, this whole other thing came to me. It was all about succeeding. It was about
Right.
accomplishing a mission. And that's where I came up with the quote, when I used to think that everything was all about winning, but in winning, there can only be one. But now I look at everything as like, how can I be succeeding? Because I can take everyone. And I think that that's what a collaborative book does. You have the heart set and the mindset of entrepreneurs who come together. And those that don't have the heart set and the mindset, those who may be brittle to this type of thinking and this type of community, they're not in this book. And
Right.
so what I found is the entrepreneurs are on this book, they're open for business each and every time you're open to connect. And that's what I like about that. And so, our second point is, use this book as a marketing tool to show your expertise. And what we decided is not just create a book, but actually create a community where we could all come together. And what, yeah, and I was going to say, and Natalie, and you've been a part of that, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, your community is so warm and inviting, and yet when you connect with people, you can see if it's a good fit to do business yourself, or they're offering, I know this person that needs your services. And yeah, it's wonderful. The other thing I was going to mention was using it as a marketing tool. When we have it down to the lowest price possible, for the next, we haven't really confirmed, but say 48 hours, as long as we can give it to them. And I really recommend the authors grab a few copies, because how cool is it when you're out networking with someone and you can whip the book out and say, here's a little gift for you. And they're not going to forget you as a person when you give them something like that, compared to a business card.
Well, and I always say, like, being on the air, sometimes I'll bring a book out and I'll say, The Art of a Connection, being a published author in that, you know, hey, a lot of us are on Zoom, and when you hold up a book, and they might look you up in this book and see what that
Yeah.
is. And then, here's the thing that, like I said, I learned from Mark Victor Hansen is, see, all of a sudden another book comes in and I'm a part of this book. And then all of a sudden another book comes in and I'm a part of this book. And
Right.
and then all of a sudden, the second book comes out, and then other book comes out. And everyone, I want you to know, it really is just putting yourself out there. and
Mhm.
and it's like laying breadcrumbs, and all of a sudden you just don't know where the birds are going to come in and find you. And all of a sudden then you get on podcasts. Then all of a sudden you're invited to guest speak, and then all of a sudden more clients connect with you. All of a sudden you become
Absolutely.
more memorable. And again, it's just keeping that burning desire of creating and being a part of things that are bigger, both with other entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
and with those that are like-minded and same-hearted. I noticed Daniel Faust is here as well, another veteran like myself. He said he grabbed 10 copies for himself, because they make phenomenal giveaways as well to other people. So the power of the book is just something that's still amazing, because as we know, 89% of the American population want to buy, I'm sorry, want to bring their story, their book to the marketplace.
Yep.
And even though there's 4,000 books being promoted every day, there's also about 360 million Americans. So that says that there's still a lot of work to be done to make that 4,000 grow. you
Yeah.
know but another thing is, and I was talking about it, is being seen as a credible source. And I kind of want to let's talk about that a little bit. Why does a book, make you be seen as more of a credible source, Natalie?
So think about how our book is lined up. You read the author's quote, and usually that really gets your mind thinking about whatever they're talking about. And then when they expand, some of the author's thoughts were going into situations where it wasn't so good and they came through it, or what they found in their years of doing whatever they're doing, kind of their highlight of their wisdom. So as you're going through this and reading this, you may say, oh my gosh, I want to work with this person. I would love to connect with this person. So just reading their little page of content, you get a real grasp of who that person is and if it's someone that you want to connect with. So definitely we've had many authors, well, and I think you can speak better to this, say that people have reached out that have just read the book, reached out, and business came out of it.
I was really surprised in the last book, Natalie. I reached out and I asked people, have they utilized the book? Have they celebrated themselves being in the book? And I would say probably about a third of the authors had, which leads 2/3 that didn't. But of the authors that did, there was a couple of coaches, and they asked not to be named, but they said they just started going through the other authors in the book, and they just started reaching out to the other authors to just do one thing: create conversations, to connect. And they said from those connections, they were able to build their coaching business into 6 figures. I had 2 coaches tell me that they were able to build their coaching business into 6 figures. And I think a lot of it has to do is because there was an alignment there of being a part of this book and a part of that community. And when you know, you know. And I think, so they didn't have to go to Google and search, and they didn't have to go to some directory, and they didn't have to do all these other things, because the spirit of that heart and that like-mindedness was there.
Right.
And
that's the key.
And that's the key. And I think what was happening is they were able to sustain and accelerate their business because they were able to serve others. And I think as we roll out the second book, the authors from this book and the previous book, as we still have events, we're going to find that this community grows, and there's going to be less of an encumbrance, because everyone that's in that book is seen as a more credible source as well, aren't they?
Yes. I got 2 texts almost immediately after the launch this morning saying, thank you so much for introducing me, A, to the opportunity to be in this book, but B, to this community. They seem phenomenal. And so that does say a lot for you and Sean. You put your heart and soul into this, but also the type of people that you attract that are in this community that make everyone feel so welcome. That your community is only going to grow that way. It's like attracts like.
I totally agree with that. And the last point we have here is, accidentally find you through your book. Tell us about that. How are you accidentally found through a book?
Well, that I actually last book connected with 2 people I didn't know because of their words, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I need to connect to someone. And with this book, I have actually a notepad with a couple names that I'm like, the minute we get this book live, I'm connecting with these, because it could be like a really amazing joint venture that you end up working with a like-minded person that has kind of the same goal and purpose, to connect with the same type of people. So accident, I think it's more, we attract amazing people that are heart-centered, that want to serve others in this book, and they will serve the right type of people. They attract
Now, and here's something else. I I don't think, if you're not a part of this community, I don't think that you understand this well. Many times, if you're a heart-centered entrepreneur, um, I'm a nurturer. You find yourselves, it's very, very hard to sometimes make money. And the reason is because you serve, but you forget to get paid, paid, paid. You know, when you're in this community, as I've grown, and I have grown with everyone in this community, you know, you it's a team effort. You're not here to fail the other person. So you more often than not say, hey, you know what, I love working with you, Natalie, but you know what, how much do I owe you? Or, and you're not going to hear that in a lot of other places, with different personality types. I
Right.
mean, one of the last persons that we signed up for the book said, that's too low. I need to pay you
I think I
more.
said that to
You,
you
you,
when I
you
first
said that,
saw.
and this other gal paid too, and she's like, I understand the special, but I'm an author as well,
Yeah,
and you know what, and she said to me, she said, you deserve more than that,
yeah.
and how
But
how
that's your
often do,
heart, and
pardon?
I said that's your heart, and you give back, and you want everyone to be able to be included and not make it to a price point that maybe will leave some people out. And that says a lot about you and Sean. That's the people that you are.
Well,
And
one of the things I say is in entrepreneurship, it's like a balance, like a Libra balance. And so you're
right.
you're kind of always looking at like, what are you balancing in life? And so many times with entrepreneurs, if they're making a lot of money,
Mhm.
guess what? They have little time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with entrepreneurs, if they have a lot of time, they're not usually making a lot of money,
Right.
or they're busy not making money. And
Mhm.
one of the things that we want to do to overcome that with this book is we wanted every author to be able to get in, not because it took a lot of time, but then we also wanted a lot of authors to be a part of this book, to be with other super players, so they could be beside them in this book, but they still didn't have to pay too much to be in it. I mean, as we said
Right.
earlier, I mean, there's a formatter, there's an editor, there's the there's the software, there's the payment processing, there's the there's all these things,
Yeah.
there's the staff. It takes a lot to make something of this scale, but we didn't want time or money to be what a person would say no on. The
Right.
only thing that we wanted a potential author to say no to is maybe they just didn't have a belief, in the art of connection and
Yeah.
inspiration and a nurturing part of an entrepreneurial community. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. And the way you served your people, you didn't just say, hey, get your page, give me the money, good luck. You held classes. We held classes that
Yeah.
walked people through that maybe weren't super comfortable on how to write their quote or and you spent the extra time to do that. So that makes the end result beautiful. And that makes those people want to come back and also bring their friends.
Absolutely. And how many friends, and we started off, there was a Zoom glitch. We leveled out for 100, and behind the scene, I mean, we had 250 RSVP'd for the event, and you don't know what time they're going to come through the event. We know that not everyone comes right out the gate,
Yeah.
but we got that resolved, and there was about 150 of us, 160 of us that were in that 2-hour book premiere. And so I'm still really happy that many people showed up to support, to tell stories, to do network. And, really, I mean, just make it a celebration. Well, Natalie, I'm going to take another break right now.
Yep.
Let's come back in and let's let people know how they can get they can get this book. And then, we're already starting to look for our future, so let's talk about what's going to be happening in the year 2023. So I'll just bring you back in a
Sounds
couple of
good.
moments.
Okay.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
I am here with Natalie Mcqueen, and she is the extraordinary publisher, the behind-the-scenes mechanic who stayed up tirelessly the last couple of months where, it was like, oh, it's daylight again, but she is here with me today. And, to say this was a labor of love is not to, that doesn't even do this justice.
Right.
But it was something that we both had a commitment to, and we stood by that commitment. And you know what? God is amazing, and God works in mysterious ways. Natalie, what was the kerfuffle at 6:30 this morning that we were trying to work out? I mean, everyone has to know this.
Oh my gosh. So Amazon sets dates and times that you have to get certain things in. So we had those, we were rushing to, put everyone's content into a beautiful manuscript, get it to the editor, get it to the formatter. And we met our deadline. So we're like, high five. Oh my gosh. Now we can sit back and breathe a
Doing
little
the
bit.
happy dance.
Yeah. And so the book should have been live yesterday. And I said, Robert, I don't know. The book's not live. And so we sent a few emails to Amazon. We reached out and we got, this department doesn't exist anymore due to COVID. And it's like, what? So fingers crossed, I went to bed, like I kept refreshing. I'm like, okay, it's any time now. And I think it was 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'll wake up and it'll be live. And I woke up and the first message I see from Robert, the book is live and ready to go. So I'm like, awesome. Hop out of bed. I look, I refresh. No, it's not.
I know. I'm like sending you this. You're like, okay, just keep checking your email. If anything comes to you and not me, I want to see what it is. And I'm like, there it is. It says it's live.
Right.
It must be live, right?
Yep. So pajamas on. Robert, Amazon's going to be calling you. So they do. We get on. We had to speak to a manager, and she was awesome. But it was funny. She's like, I've not really seen this before. Everything is good. Everything is okayed. You're ready to go live, but you're stuck in review.
Right.
And that team is not available right now. And it's like, what? So whatever she did, she figured out who to push the right button, and we became live right in the middle of our book launch today.
Well, I mean, and really to make it go deeper, we actually had a person before the person, and
right.
and it even started with chat before that. So it was like email, and then go to chat, and then to the first person, and then to the second person, and then to the, I don't know what they did behind the scene, but then they got to the team, and during the event, all of a sudden, I get this text from you, and it's like, it's live. It's there. And I'm going over here, and I'm refreshing. I don't see it that it's live. I don't see that it's live. Is it really live? And I'm thinking like, okay, I'm not sure what book she's looking at, but it's not the book I'm looking at. And then I find out Natalie's like, well, it's a different link, and I'm like, what? So tell us what happened here.
Well, that's kind of the norm. When it first comes on, they're not linked together, and that's a step that they do. So it just wasn't linked together. So I created a link really quick, and so we have two separate links, but it will be linked all together properly. So you know what? It's the world of Amazon and book publishing. So
it's the world we live in. It's the world we know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But the thing is, today is such a great day. Everyone's been sharing out the ebook. We have this amazing book priced at $1.99, and you can gift it through Amazon to other people. I'm not going to say too much, but I know we've already hit in Australia.
Yes.
But I will get those pictures and everything put together. So just keep putting it out there and share it with your international friends. We've got an international link for that, and we've got the ebook link and the print copy. So we're super excited.
Well, and I want to put this link up here. Let me see if I can show this. So this is the book link. It's just mybook.to. That's mybook.to/Art of Connection 2. Art of Connection 2 for the second book. And right there, like Natalie says, that the price is $1.99 for the Kindle version.
Yes.
And then we have a limited time to get the printed version of the book. And what is the special price for the printed version of the book, Natalie?
It's $15.97. We put it down just about as low as we can do it, and we are going to extend the time. Let's see. It's mybook.to/Art of Connection print is the print book. So I don't know if we can add that.
Okay, so let me do that as well, and I'll put that into and it's Art of Connection print.
Yes.
Let me see. I'll go ahead and scroll this so everyone can see this here. So Art of Connection print, and so you can get your printed book that way. I'll also put it into our comments area.
Okay.
And there we go.
There we go. Yep. Awesome.
And now I do get questions, Natalie. Some people, they're like, well, normally sometimes this happens when you get Kindle, it's 99 cents. Sometimes I'm able to get a printed book for $7.99. Why are these prices more than what I've seen other launches, other premieres?
So it's the amount of pages. How Amazon does it is the amount of pictures. So we obviously have 365 pictures in the book.
At least.
Yeah. And the size, we have 384 pages, I believe. So Amazon dictates how low you can go in pricing. Also the quality of picture, the higher quality of picture, they charge more. So for us, for this book, $1.99 was the lowest that we could go. And then for the print book, the regular cost of a book that size usually will come out between $25 and $30. So I think your last year's one is 25, isn't it?
It is. It's $25 last year's book. Yeah.
So $15.97 is a deal.
It really is. I mean, it's just right at cost for a book of this size, and it is a really weighty book, and I can't wait till people order it and they get to see that. And we had we did a count. We were looking at how many authors were in this book, and I'm really excited. We doubled the author count in this book from the last book, as evidenced by the slides. So we had oh my goodness, 220 authors in this book, and from over 20 different countries, from Ireland and England to United Arab Emirates,
Canada,
to India. It was an amazing feat in all sorts of different states. And one of the things that we do also, in addition to our book here, is we also celebrate at the Art of Connection Summit that's coming up on March 31st. And, we do this because we found that, entrepreneurs in this style of, concept of, they want to connect. Hey, I'm in a book of connection. I want to go connect. I want to network. I want to do business. I want to set up one-on-ones. I want to get appointments, etc. And so we came up with this Art of Connection Summit. And what an amazing summit we had. The last summit, we had over 300 people at our last event, and it was a really exciting time. And I just wanted to talk just a little bit about the summit. And Natalie, you've been to the summit as well, right?
Yes, I've been to your last two, and you run them so efficient, so fun. The speed networking is amazing. It's like, if you've ever, I've been in a relationship of marriage for 30 years, and then we dated before that. So I never ever experienced speed dating, but speed networking, it's
Y-
like you get to just have that little bit of time and meet that person and then just go, yes, we're connecting.
and the other thing that we have is speed presentations. We call them laser
Yes.
presentations. You
Yeah.
know, and one of the things I found, and we've been known for our in-person events, and then when COVID hit, we went from an all in-person organization to an all virtual organization to
Yeah.
keep continuity. We had to pivot rapidly. And one of the things I always found is when I was in the audience or if I was emceeing an event, I always noticed how a speaker would be up on the stage, and it's like they come off the stage and you just have to go meet that speaker, and you just have to get to their table, and you just want to get to know them more, and set up appointment or buy a book or sign up with a coaching package, whatever it is. And I felt like I hadn't seen that in Zoom events. How do you get that same feeling of being able to connect with someone that just resonated with you?
Yeah.
And at our event, what we do is we run the panels where, for the most part, all of our speakers, we get them to talk about their their who and their why, and then in the presentation they get to talk about their what and their how. So it's a great way to kind of get to know the person. And once you resonate with them, they do a laser presentation in smaller group settings where you almost feel like you get to be with them in an intimate environment, so you can get to know them a little bit better. And that works kind of cool, doesn't it, Natalie?
It does. And it's a short amount of time, yet it's a long enough time to connect to that little group. And people have such a good time because all of a sudden it's like, boom, time's up. You're sucked back into the room and then you go to the next one. And so, yeah, it's so much fun.
And the other things that I think that are so important to say at the event is, we set different parameters, but it is going from one thing to another thing to another thing. And this year we changed the panels a little bit, and our first panel is actually called Holistic Connections.
Nice.
And we did that because we felt like world-class connections didn't quite resonate with what we wanted this event to like start off with.
Right.
And one of the things I always say is, like, you have to start with your heart set before you can work on your mindset. But once you work on your mindset, then you can work on the skill sets that create that entrepreneurial success, right?
Right.
And on that first panel, we have 5 experts that are in the heart set and mindset fields. And so we have a great panel discussion for about an hour. And then after that, we do the breakouts with the 5 different panelists, and it rotates through each room. And then the second panel, Natalie, used to be human connections, and now we call them social connections. So
Okay.
we have 5 experts come in that are social experts to help you connect with people live in any environment. So I'm really excited on how that word twist will resonate with our community.
Yeah. I learned so much in the panel with, oh my gosh, with teaching you like the online connections and SEO and different, like that was amazing. So
You
many
know,
good takeaways.
Yeah. So again, that is the artofconnectionsummit.com, the artofconnectionsummit.com. Right now we have panelists from the previous events that are on there, but we do have an agenda. I think we have a list to sign up at, so you can get more information. It starts at 7 a.m. And save the date now. No coulda, shoulda, woulda. I didn't knows. Put it on your calendar, mark it now. You have 2 months of advance. I guarantee you're going to meet someone, or lots of someone's. You're going to connect with someone, or lots of someone's. You're probably even going to be able to, from that, do business. You'll get to meet the authors. You'll get to meet the members of the iNetrepreneur Network community. But at the end of the time, our summits they're about celebration. They're about a coming together and having that one respite, that one break to sharpen your own saw, so you can learn, just to take that little break to kind of have a little bit of entrepreneurial self-care that is so needed in this day and age, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. It's fun. It's fast. The day, because when I first heard it was 12 hours or something, I was like, are you serious? But all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, like we're almost done. I couldn't believe it.
It goes by really, really quickly. You
Yeah.
know, so we're coming up. I mean, the hour goes far too quickly. It really, really does. But one of the things I don't want to miss on our show today is you know, for the day is not lost because I have learned, and that's one of the sayings that my dad always used to teach me. And then maybe I took a little longer because for the year is not done, but I've learned, right? But what we have done is we are already setting up for 2023, and but I want everyone to know that all our books, talk about this a little bit, Natalie. All our books are set up, as evergreen because there's always a January 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd. Talk about that just a little bit.
Yes. So the way the book is set up is the calendar year, and it's not per year, or like it's not 2022 or 2023. So whoever picks up your book in 10 years from now, everything will be relevant. And one of the things that we are going to talk with the authors, because we've had some people say, well, what if my link changes? And there's some really cool technology that will take care of that. So you can put a certain link in your book and it will be evergreen as well.
And I'm so excited about how we're going to be utilizing more videos. We're going to be deepening our community roots. We're going to be looking at creating directories for all of our authors where they can modify their author pages, and these QR codes where there'll be even a dashboard where you can change where where like you said,
Right.
if the URL changes, you're able to change it so your QR
Yeah.
code does have that evergreen feel. And but most importantly, what I'm really, really excited about this next book is you have the opportunity to take advantage of what everyone took advantage of today. The retail price for a reserve page in a book is $550 to be in the book, and it's $400 to have a random date, meaning it just falls anywhere in the book possible. But today, I mean, you're able to be a published author, a best-selling author, the 3rd book in the Art of Connection series for only $127 for a reserved page, or $97 for a random page. Tell me we're crazy, Natalie.
You are crazy. No, that's amazing.
And we do that, for at the end of the day, we do it for what purpose?
Well,
To get
encouraging the authors to jump in again and take that step and create community and keep the flow. Like it's just a beautiful thing. It was, even though we're both so tired this morning.
Yes.
It was one of those experiences that just watching the excitement and seeing those first time authors put their hand up and just be so proud. That's what it's all about.
And it even goes to seeing seasoned authors who have been published 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times to say, did I have to be in another book? No, but I believe in what this book stands for.
Right.
And that's why I want to be in this book, because we've lost in certain ways the art of connection.
Yep.
And this is a little way of bringing that art of connection back into the people's hands, into entrepreneurs' hands. One of the things, with my technology background, I'd always say, technology can always speed our connections. It can speed our communication, but you know what? It can't speed our relationships.
No.
And that's what this is about. It's about creating deep relationships, with each other so we can all succeed as a team.
Yep. Just even being a part of this project and putting help reach out to some of the authors and get their content. I ended up connecting with a few people that I might have met at your summits once or twice and had some conversations, but never took the time to go deeper. One of the ladies and I ended up having probably a 15-minute conversation and just connecting and realizing we had so much in common and that we definitely needed to expand on it and get together and have a virtual coffee or something soon. So it really is an amazing place and way to keep your community, have that support, and be a part of your community.
Well, and I always, and one of the things I always say that's kind of special is, I always say, I don't try to look for it as like my community. I say it's our community. I just happen to be the birth mother of it because, every, every person that comes into it, creates a stronger fabric. And
Yep.
and I think that that's the main thing that we try to achieve here. It's like I said earlier in the show, when I was younger, it was all about winning because there could only be one, and that was going to be me. But as I've gotten older, I say it's all about succeeding because you can take everyone. And, I remember Jim Rome talking, and he always used to say, we have a moral and ethical obligation to save people as entrepreneurs. If that person is drowning in that river, you know what? You do. You have an obligation to save them, and if this helps us, in a meaningful way, save our connections, with each other as entrepreneurs, and it's something that we can even pass down to people that are younger of us, that we can keep this legacy going, then, then I served my purpose in my life. And there's a lot of authors in this book who have served purpose in their life as well.
Yeah.
Natalie, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show today. I mean, we just going to have to keep doing this again. I just want to remind everyone, you can go to the website 365 days of inspirationalquotes.com to reserve a page in the next book, 365 days of transformational quotes.
And it's
300
beautiful.
and it is a beautiful cover. So, I mean, you just have to go there to see the cover. And it really is a cover that represents transformation in its most beautiful sense.
Yeah.
Natalie, any parting words before we leave for today?
I think you just kind of summed it up. I think when you live and connect with people and be your best self, there's no competition. There's no reason to be worried about sharing your knowledge and sharing your connections. It's a place to grow together and to raise each other up, not compete. And that's what you have here.
Well, that's what we have here, and that's I'm gonna keep saying it. It's everyone's community if they choose to be a part of it. And that is what community is about. Natalie Mcqueen, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Thank you so much for giving of your time, your blood, your sweat, your tears for this book. And I appreciate you. I also want to give a shout out to my wonderful, beautiful wife. I can't do this without her. I want to thank Orlea Moore for pushing me into this second book, along with those chicken soup guys. And it just is. It is an amazing journey. And again, I've lived another day, and I've learned. And what I've learned is if you put on the right lenses, you can see beauty in everything. And the people have really given a lot to my spirit during this journey. So again, thank you so much. Hey, everyone, we are on this radio program each and every Thursday from 2:30 to 3:30 Mountain Standard Time. Please come, support the show, support entrepreneurs, support people who are new authors. Would love to have you. And, if you have a compelling story, if you want to come on the show, just reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation with you. I always like to say, so many times I have these great conversations and they're on the phone, and I'm always like, I wish other people could hear this. I wish other people could hear this. Well, you know what? Let's have that conversation, you and me, on the iNetrepreneur Network. Thank you, everyone, for being on this show today with us.
You've been watching the iNetrepreneur Show, a production of the iNetrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.